So now we're going to begin our section about infectious diseases and epidemiology. Essentially, we're going to try to explain to you how microbes directly affect our bodies and also our population. So there are several parts to this section, a total of 8, but they're very short. So we'll talk about the overview for the first 4 parts, and after we finish the first 4 parts, we'll discuss the overview for the next 4 parts. So the first of these 4 parts is symbiotic relationships between microbes and their hosts. Second part talks about reservoirs of infectious diseases in humans. Third talks about invasion and establishment of microbes in hosts, other words, infection. The fourth talks about the nature of infectious diseases. So let's talk about the first, or part 1, in this PowerPoint. Part 1 is the symbiotic relationships between microbes and their hosts, and we're going to talk about the type of symbiosis that exists, normal microbiota in hosts, and then how normal microbiota become opportunistic pathogens. So types of symbiosis, and this is probably a review for most of this, for most of us and you. Mutualism, both organisms benefit. Commensalism, one benefits without significantly affecting the other. Parasitism, a parasite develops benefit from host while harming it. And the table 14.1 on your screen gives you an example. For example, mutualistic relationships are bacteria in the human colon. Commensalism are Staphylococcus epidermis in skin. And parasitism is tuberculosis bacteria in human lungs. Normal microbiota in hosts. Normal microbiota are a microbe that colonize surface of body without causing harm. For example, we can talk about bacteria that colonize the human nasal cavity. Another name for normal microbiota is normal flora or indigenous microbiota. Resident microbiota remain a part of the normal microbiota of a person throughout life. For example, your skin mucus of digestive tract, and so on. We'll go over table 14.2 and you can look at that a little bit more specifically. Transient microbes only remain in body for hours, days, and months. They're found in the same area as the normal flora, but they're outcompeted by the normal flora. It is important to mention that you're not born with normal flora. You acquire it during the first few months of birth. Again, as promised, this is an image of normal microbiota in your nasal cavities. So the pink is the microbiota, which is the bacteria, and the fuzzy part is your nasal cavity. These are some resident microbes found in your upper respiratory tract. You guys can kind of look at that, and also some notes related to that. Some resident microbes in your upper digestive tract and your lower digestive tract. Some more resident microbes, this time in the female urinary and reproductive system and in the male urinary and reproductive system. And finally, you get normal resident microbiota in the eyes and the skin. Now we're going to look at how normal microbiota become opportunistic pathogens. The conditions have to be right to create these opportunistic pathogens, and these include an introduction of the normal flora into unusual site of the body where they usually are not found. For example, E. coli does not cause harm in the colon, but it does and is thus opportunistic in the urethra. Sometimes you have immunosuppression that can be caused by disease, stress, etc. And this can enable opportunistic pathogens to thrive. And this happens with AIDS virus. There's a change in the normal flora. So there's a change in the relative abundance of one type of microbe, and this may allow a number of other types of microbe, or just one type of microbe of the normal flora, to become opportunistic pathogen and thrive. An example is Candida albicans and antibiotics. If you are treated for antibiotics for infection, the Candida albicans in certain parts of your body can become more prevalent because they're not held in check by the bacteria that you have just killed with the antibiotics. Remember, bacteria destroy both the pathogenic bacteria and your normal flora.